Hello everybody, and guess who's back to tell you about their Quince disaster? Somebody? Anybody? Well, it was me, your Quince Madrina, and it wasn't just one thing that happened that made the whole thing turn into a nightmare. It was actually several events that went down that made my quinceañera into a disaster. So keep on watching so you can see how it went from 0 to 100. Guys, grab your popcorn because it's about to go down. By the way, comment down below if you'd like me to go in more detail on any of these stories. Anyways, let's get back to what I was saying. It all started when I was this small. Okay, I'm kidding. So let me tell you how it all started. I actually didn't even want a quinceañera. I was just surrounded by so many since I was helping my tia, who is a makeup and hair stylist, do and transform all these beautiful quinceañeras makeup and hair. And I was like, oh my God, now I want one. So I went to my parents and I was like, you know what? I want a quinceañera. My dad was like, no, like it's too late. He was just in denial. And I was like, Dad, like I really want this. So we started planning this quinceañera of mine that only took 8 months, that I really didn't plan on having, but it ended up happening. So the first thing that went down was my dama drama. My mistake was to mix my best friends, who are like my newest friends, with my friends that I grew up with. Both of them didn't know each other, so they met the day of my first practice. And it was really awkward for them to like get along. Actually, they didn't even end up getting along. So I had all these little groups here and there. And I tried, me being the good friend, tried being with everybody, but they would still get mad at the fact that I wasn't with them all the time. But I'm like, you know, I can't if you guys don't get along. So that was like something I really struggled with. And then a month before my 15, my main chamberlain drops out. He's like, I can't do this. I need to work on my grades. My parents just can't bring me to your practice anymore, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of excuses. He didn't end up coming out in it. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I found a replacement, and thank God he actually learned the steps in just 1 month. So yeah, that went on. And then another one drops out. He was my best friend's chamberlain, so I was like, oh my God, like we only had 3 weeks until my actual quinceañera. And I was like, I have to find somebody else. I need to teach him the steps. Like he has to learn everything. Funny story, my choreographer actually ended up being her chamberlain. I mean, it was cool because obviously he's the one that made the steps. He came up with them. It was weird just because I had just met my choreographer and it wasn't like a teenager our age. He was like mid-20s, late 20s. So I mean, a 20-year-old dancing with 15, 14-year-olds. It was pretty strange, right? So everything was running smoothly after that situation, and there was only 4 days before my quinceañera, before the next incident happened. And so this incident had to do with my dad. He actually couldn't even make it to my quinceañera, and it was like super devastating to me. But he still wanted me to go through with this, and he had paid for everything, so he was like, just enjoy it, blah, blah, blah. So everything was paid for, and then I get a call from the venue guy who actually was in charge of my limousine as well, and tells me that my limousine is canceled because it wasn't paid for. So the only thing that sucked about that was that I already told my court that I was gonna have this limousine, and they were so hyped about it, and I didn't even end up having it, and it just sucks, like. But anyways, that was the least of it. The day of my quinceañera, it was stressful mainly because it was just like me and my mom trying to handle everything. We didn't really have a lot of support from my dad's family, which was the only family we have here. So my padrinos came. They're the only family from my dad's side that came, and they were the ones in charge of the food because they have a food truck and whatnot. But they actually left early, and not only did they leave early, but they took the food with them. So some of my guests didn't even get to eat. So the last incident that I remembered that happened during my quinceañera was my poor single mom running around crazy trying to put this whole quinceañera together for her daughter. And she had forgot that she had gave me the keys to the truck before the party started. And she was going around crazy trying to look for them so she can move the truck. And so while all that was happening, she ended up missing out on my performance, my whole waltz, my whole surprise dance. And it wasn't until the end that we found out, well, I found out she was looking for them. She told me, and I was like, Mom, don't you remember that I had the keys this whole time? And we were just both like, ugh. I know, it sounds terrible. But at the end of the day, I ended up enjoying my quinceañera, and I made some really great memories. Plus, I am a really big believer in things happen for a reason. So I feel like if those things wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have grown as an individual, and I probably wouldn't even be vlogging in the first place. So I'm not gonna say I'm thankful, but things do happen, and I'm here now. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.